This episode is brought to you by listeners like you, our magical elixir, and the spellbinding boost behind this mic. Thanks for joining us on this fantastical adventure.
Prepare for warp speed as we embark on a voyage through the vast expanse of science fiction in movies and television series. From distant planets to alien civilizations, we delve into the heart of the unknown, unraveling the tales that have captivated audiences for generations. Get ready to unlock the secrets of the universe on Code Flix.
Greetings, fellow sci-fi and fantasy lovers. Welcome to Code Flix, where we explore the TV shows and movies that shape our imaginations. I'm Andre Bonner, and in today's episode, we'll be traversing angels, demons, and the apocalypse with a twist in the 2019 Amazon Prime series, Good Omens. Omens usually get a bad rap, but trust me, this series is nothing like that. It's pure entertainment with David Tennant, the legendary 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, leading the charge. You know it's going to be good. His performance is what pulled me in, and I stayed for the clever storytelling. If you love the vibes of The Sandman, this one has a similar supernatural charm, but with a lighter, more playful twist on angels, demons, and the apocalypse. At the core of it all is the unexpected friendship between two enemies. It's funny, heartwarming, and absolutely unforgettable. I loved every minute of it and was honestly disappointed to hear the final season is being cut down to a TV movie. But don't let that hold you back. This series is on another level. If you haven't watched it yet, make the time because spoilers are coming in this deep dive. It's nothing short of ineffable brilliance.
Good Omens is a fantasy comedy television series created by Neil Gaiman based on his and Terry Pratchett's 1990 novel of the same name. A co-production between Amazon MGM Studios and BBC Studios, the series was directed by Douglas Mackinnon, with Gaiman also serving as showrunner. Michael Sheen and David Tennant lead a large ensemble cast that also includes John Hamm, Miranda Richardson, Michael McKean, Derek Jacobi, Brian Cox, Benedict Cumberbatch, and Frances McDormand as the voice of God, who narrates the series. Like the novel, Good Omens features various Christian themes and figures and follows various characters all trying to either encourage or prevent an imminent Armageddon, seen through the eyes of the angel Aziraphale and the demon Crowley. All episodes of the first series were released on Amazon Prime Video on May 31, 2019, and aired weekly on BBC Two in the UK between January 15 and February 19, 2020. Although the show's first series was conceived and marketed as a limited series, it was renewed for a second series in June 2021. Sheen and Tennant returned, along with most of the cast and crew. The second series was released in its entirety on Amazon Prime Video on July 28, 2023. Good Omens was renewed for its third and final series in December 2023. Production of the third series was paused in September 2020 for following multiple sexual assault allegations against Gaiman. In October 2024, it was announced that Gaiman would be leaving the production, and the third series would be reduced to a single 90-minute episode. Since its release, the series has been well received among critics, with praise going towards particularly for Sheen and Tennant's performances, faithfulness to its source material, and David Arnold's musical score, earning him two Primetime Emmy Awards nominations for Outstanding Music Composition and Original Main Title Theme. The first series follows the demon Crowley, David Tennant, and the angel Aziraphale, Michael Sheen, longtime acquaintances who have grown accustomed to each other and #039's company, and to a pleasant life on Earth in the present day as representatives of heaven and hell, and who have agreed not to let the conflict between their sides prevent their friendship. When told that Armageddon is about to happen, the final battle between heaven and hell, they team up to prevent the coming of the Antichrist and the end of the pleasant existence they enjoy on earth. The second series concerns the Archangel Gabriel arriving without his memories to Aziraphale and #039's bookshop. Aziraphale and Crowley attempt to find out what happened to Gabriel, and to also hide him from heaven and hell, both of which are eager to find him. The first series follows the demon Crowley, David Tennant, and the angel Aziraphale, Michael Sheen, longtime acquaintances who have grown accustomed to each other and #039's company, and to a pleasant life on earth in the present day as representatives of heaven and hell, and who have agreed not to let the conflict between their sides prevent their friendship. When told that Armageddon is about to happen, the final battle between heaven and hell, they team up to prevent the coming of the Antichrist and the end of the pleasant existence they enjoy on earth. The second series concerns the Archangel Gabriel arriving without his memories to Aziraphale and #039's bookshop. Aziraphale and Crowley attempt to find out what happened to Gabriel, and to also hide him from heaven and hell, both of which are eager to find him. His innocence and curiosity challenge traditional depictions of apocalyptic figures. 11. Eccentric prophet. Example, Agnes Nutter, the 17th century witch, leaves behind her cryptic yet accurate book of prophecies, influencing her descendants and the events of the series. 12. Time-skipping narratives. Example, the series spans 6,000 years, with flashbacks showing pivotal moments in Aziraphale and Crowley's unlikely friendship, such as their interactions during Noah's Ark, the Crucifixion, and Shakespeare's plays. 13. Reluctant villain. Example, Beelzebub and the forces of hell are more interested in winning the cosmic war than in Earth itself, with some members showing reluctance to fully commit to their roles. 14. Inept henchman. Example, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, war, famine, pollution, and death, gather to start Armageddon, but their actions often take unexpected and humorous turns. 15. Mundane supernatural. Example, heaven and hell are portrayed as bureaucratic, flawed systems. Angels and demons have regular jobs, petty rivalries, and a surprising amount of inefficiency. 16. Comedic apocalypse. Example, the tone of the series is a light-hearted take on the end of the world, filled with absurdity, misunderstandings, and humorous situations rather than traditional doomsday tropes. 17. The power of choice. Example, Adam's decision to reject his role as the Antichrist and forge his own path shows the importance of free will and the ability to shape destiny. 18. Fish out of water. Example, Aziraphale and Crowley are celestial beings who have grown so accustomed to earthly comforts that they feel out of place in the strict systems of heaven and hell. 19. Unlikely hero team-up. Example, the Witchfinder army, led by the hapless Newton Pulsifer and the Witch Anathema device, teams up to help thwart the apocalypse, despite their incompetence and quirks. 20. Celestial bromance. Example, Aziraphale and Crowley's relationship is more than friendship but stops short of outright romance. Their deep bond, loyalty, and mutual understanding transcend labels, making it a central element of the series. Good Omens delivers a whimsical and heartfelt exploration of morality, friendship, and humanity while balancing celestial drama with laugh-out-loud moments. Its unique blend of humor, depth, and quirky storytelling has made it a beloved adaptation. Here are some key themes and symbols in the series. Key themes in Good Omens. Free will versus predestination. The series challenges the concept of an unalterable divine plan. Crowley and Aziraphale and #039's actions, as they attempt to thwart Armageddon, represent the power of individual choice against the backdrop of a seemingly predetermined apocalypse. The struggle between fate and free will also plays out in the lives of other characters, such as Adam Young, the Antichrist, who chooses his humanity over his destiny as the harbinger of the apocalypse. The nature of good and evil. Good Omens blurs the lines between good and evil, portraying Aziraphale, an angel, and Crowley, a demon, as morally complex beings. While they represent opposing forces, their actions often transcend their celestial or infernal labels, revealing a shared love for humanity and the world. The series suggests that morality is not black and white, but but shaped by compassion, empathy, and personal choices. Friendship and connection. At its core, Good Omens is a story about the enduring friendship between Aziraphale and Crowley. Despite their differences and the expectations of their respective sides, their bond defies the rules of heaven and hell. Their friendship is a testament to the importance of understanding and cooperation, even between those with seemingly irreconcilable differences. Love for humanity. Both Aziraphale and Crowley have grown fond of humanity and the earth over the millennia. Their shared appreciation for human creativity, quirks, and flaws drives their determination to save the world. The series portrays the human experience, its joys, challenges, and imperfections, as something worth protecting and cherishing. Satire of bureaucracy and authority. The show takes a satirical look at the inefficiencies and absurdities of heaven and hell as bureaucratic institutions. Both sides are depicted as rigid, hierarchical, and often disconnected from the nuances of the earthly world they aim to control. This critique extends to the idea of unquestioning obedience to authority, as both Aziraphale and Crowley frequently rebel against their superiors in service of a greater good. The power of choice and redemption. Many characters in Good Omens are given opportunities to make choices that define their identities and paths. Adam Young's choice to reject his role as the Antichrist underscores the series' belief in the potential for redemption and change. Crowley and Aziraphale, too, exemplify this theme by consistently choosing to protect humanity, even at the risk of punishment from their respective realms. Key symbols in Good Omens. The Garden of Eden. The story begins in the Garden of Eden, symbolizing the birth of humanity and the complex interplay of good, evil, and free will. Aziraphale and Crowley's first encounter here foreshadows their eventual partnership and shared fondness for humanity. The Flaming Sword. Aziraphale gives his flaming sword to Adam and Eve as they leave Eden, an act of compassion that establishes his tendency to question strict divine orders. The sword becomes a symbol of his willingness to prioritize kindness over dogma. The Bentley. Crowley's black Bentley is a reflection of his personality, stylish, rebellious, and a bit chaotic. The car's indestructibility and its frequent transformations into something more divine, like playing Queen songs constantly, reflect Crowley's dual nature and his attachment to earthly pleasures. The Antichrist, Adam Young. Adam Young, the Antichrist, symbolizes the tension between destiny and choice. Although destined to bring about the end of the world, Adam ultimately chooses humanity and friendship over destruction, subverting his role in the celestial plan. Books and knowledge. Aziraphale's love of books, particularly his rare bookshop, represents his intellectual curiosity and his connection to humanity's creative achievements. Books symbolize knowledge, individuality, and the enduring power of ideas. Season 2, 2023, and expanded themes. The second season expands on the relationship between Aziraphale and Crowley, exploring deeper questions of love, loyalty, and identity. It introduces new celestial mysteries, including the presence of Gabriel, stripped of his memories, and a conspiracy involving heaven and hell. Unconditional love. Season 2 delves further into the relationship between Aziraphale and Crowley, highlighting their unspoken affection and reliance on one another. The ambiguity of their bond, whether it's platonic, romantic, or something beyond human understanding, adds depth to their characters. Memory and identity. Gabriel's loss of memory serves as a metaphor for the idea that identity is shaped by experiences and choices rather than divine design. Heaven versus earth. The season continues to explore the tension between heavenly authority and earthly freedom, emphasizing that the beauty of life lies in its unpredictability and imperfection. Conclusion. Good Omens is a whimsical yet profound exploration of morality, friendship, and humanity's worth. Through its rich themes, clever humor, and poignant moments, the series offers a unique perspective on the complexities of good and evil, the importance of free will, and the enduring power of connection and love. It balances cosmic stakes with deeply personal stories, making it both an epic tale and an intimate character study. Here is a character analysis of the key figures from the Good Omens series. Aziraphale, Michael Sheen. Aziraphale, an angel and representative of heaven, is kind-hearted, slightly fussy, and deeply attached to humanity and Earth. His love for good food, books, and earthly pleasures reflects his deep appreciation for human life. Despite his divine role, Aziraphale often questions heaven and #039's rigid rules and acts based on his moral instincts rather than orders. His relationship with Crowley is central to his character, as it challenges his understanding of good and evil and showcases his capacity for loyalty, compromise, and love. Crowley, David Tennant. Crowley, a demon who once tempted Eve with the apple, is a suave, rebellious, and surprisingly compassionate character. Although tasked with doing evil, Crowley often finds himself protecting humanity and questioning hell's motives. His relationship with Aziraphale is a cornerstone of his identity, demonstrating his capacity for good and his resistance to blindly following orders. Crowley's charm, wit, and cynicism mask a deep vulnerability, as he struggles with his place in the celestial hierarchy and his desire for a more nuanced existence. Adam Young, Sam Taylor Buck. Adam is the Antichrist, raised as an ordinary human boy in a small English village. Despite his destiny to bring about Armageddon, Adam's kind-hearted, imaginative, and curious nature leads him to reject his destructive role. His character explores themes of free will, innocence, and the power of nurture over nature. Adam's journey is about embracing humanity and rejecting the binary forces of good and evil imposed upon him by heaven and hell. Anathema device, Audrea Arjona. Anathema is a descendant of Agnes Nutter, a witch who wrote a book of accurate prophecies. As a driven, pragmatic, and intelligent young woman, Anathema dedicates her life to following the prophecies and preventing the apocalypse. Her character represents duty, heritage, and the balance between belief in destiny and personal agency. Through her interactions with Newton Pulsifer, Anathema begins to explore her own choices outside the confines of her inherited responsibility. Newton Pulsifer, Jack Whitehall. Newton is a bumbling and endearing descendant of a witchfinder, working reluctantly as part of the Witchfinder army. His awkwardness and inexperience contrast with his bravery and genuine kindness. Newton represents the ordinary, flawed individual who rises to the occasion when faced with extraordinary circumstances. His developing relationship with Anathema highlights themes of partnership and finding purpose in unexpected ways. Gabriel, John Hamm. Gabriel, the leader of Heaven and #039's forces, is a bureaucratic, self-assured angel who often embodies the rigidity and detachment of celestial authority. His character highlights the flaws in the divine system, particularly its inability to comprehend or value human complexities. Gabriel serves as a foil to Aziraphale, emphasizing Aziraphale and #039's more nuanced and empathetic perspective. Beelzebub, Anna Maxwell Martin. Beelzebub is a high-ranking demon and hell and #039's counterpart to Gabriel. Ruthless and authoritative, they represent the structured yet chaotic nature of hell and #039's hierarchy. Beelzebub's interactions with Gabriel underscore the mutual stubbornness and blind adherence to the cosmic war between heaven and hell, contrasting sharply with the individualism of Crowley and Aziraphale. The Good Omens series thrives on its exploration of dualities, good and evil, duty and free will, heaven and hell, through its complex and often humorous characters. At its core, the show celebrates humanity and #039's imperfections and the power of friendship, love, and choice to shape destinies beyond cosmic plans. Here is a detailed overview of the production and design of the series. Production. 1. Development. Gaiman and Pratchett had long discussed adapting the novel into a screen production, but the project gained momentum after Pratchett and #039's passing in 2015. Gaiman took the reins to honor their shared vision. The show was co-produced by Amazon Studios and BBC Studios, allowing it to have a large budget, high production quality, and a broad international reach. While Season 1 is a faithful adaptation of the novel, Season 2 ventures into new territory, exploring untold stories about Aziraphale and Crowley while hinting at ideas that Gaiman and Pratchett once discussed for a potential sequel. 2. Cast. Michael Sheen as Aziraphale, the prim and proper angel who loves humanity and his bookshop. David Tennant as Crowley, the swaggering, fast-talking demon with a penchant for sarcasm and good sunglasses. The chemistry between Sheen and Tennant is widely regarded as the heart of the series, with their performances blending humor, warmth, and melancholy. Supporting cast, Season 1. John Hamm as the overbearing Angel Gabriel. Frances McDormand as the voice of God, Season 1. Audrey Arjona, Jack Whitehall, Michael McKean, and others in key roles from the original apocalyptic storyline. Season 2 introduces new characters played by Miranda Richardson, Shelley Kahn, and Shualeen Sepulveda, with Nina Sosanya and Maggie Service returning in new roles. 3. Writing. Gaiman adapted the novel into a screenplay for Season 1, ensuring the tone and humor of the original text remained intact. For Season 2, Gaiman collaborated with co-writer John Finnemore, blending new mysteries with the quirky, heartfelt tone that fans of the show expect. 4. Filming locations. Much of the series was filmed in Scotland and London, with key locations, such as Aziraphale and #039, S Bookshop and Crowley and #039, S Bentley, becoming iconic visual elements of the series. Crowley's flaming Bentley and the meticulous recreation of locations like Soho add a distinctive charm to the production. Design and aesthetic. 1. Costume design. Aziraphale, his wardrobe reflects his old-fashioned, fussy personality, with Victorian-inspired suits and soft, warm colors that emphasize his angelic nature. Crowley, his sleek, black outfits with bold accessories like sunglasses and sharp boots contrast sharply with Aziraphale, reflecting his devil-may-care attitude and flamboyant demeanor. The costumes for celestial beings, angels and demons, play on the juxtaposition of their divine or diabolical nature with modern human aesthetics. 2. Set design. Aziraphale's cozy, cluttered bookshop in Soho is a visual delight, filled with dusty tomes and vintage furniture that reflect his centuries-long tenure on Earth. Crowley's modern, dark apartment and his infamous Bentley embody his chic, rebellious style. The series includes grand celestial locations, such as Heaven, minimalist and clinical, and Hell, gritty and industrial, which visually highlight the divide between the two realms. 3. Visual effects. The series employs stunning VFX for magical and apocalyptic sequences, such as Crowley's fiery Bentley, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and Crowley's infamous ability to manipulate reality, e.g., turning a duck pond into a single duck. The effects maintain a whimsical tone, balancing the supernatural elements with humor. 4. Cinematography. Directed by Douglas McKinnon, the cinematography captures the quirky, fantastical elements of the series while grounding it in real-world settings. Bright, colorful palettes often contrast with darker, ominous tones during apocalyptic or celestial scenes. Music and sound design. The score, composed by David Arnold, captures the whimsical and emotional tone of the series, blending grand orchestral arrangements with playful, quirky melodies. Season 1 features iconic tracks such as Queen's music, especially in Bohemian Rhapsody, tied to Crowley and #039's character due to his inexplicable habit of transforming all car radio stations into Queen playlists. Sound design highlights the celestial versus infernal dynamics, with unique audio cues for angelic miracles, demonic transformations, and moments of magic. Reception. Good Omens received widespread acclaim for its faithful adaptation of the novel, Season 1, and the chemistry between Sheen and Tennant. Fans particularly appreciated the humor, heart, and exploration of philosophical and theological themes without taking itself too seriously. Season 2, while more divisive due to its departure from the original novel, was praised for deepening the relationship between Aziraphale and Crowley and setting up intriguing storylines for a potential future season. Legacy and impact. Good Omens stands out as a beloved adaptation of a cherished novel, striking a balance between comedy, drama, and philosophical musings about good, evil, and humanity's place in the cosmos. It has garnered a devoted fanbase, especially for the unique bond between Aziraphale and Crowley, which transcends traditional depictions of angel-demon dynamics, and has been interpreted as a deep friendship or romantic partnership by fans. The show's success has solidified its place as one of Amazon's flagship series, offering a unique blend of humor, heart, and fantasy.
So here are my personal insights and interpretations of Good Omens. including my favorite moments, themes, and characters. Now, this series has 2 seasons, and each season is 6 episodes long. I have to talk about the opening theme. It's just brilliant in creativity, just using a lot of different animation styles. And when I heard from the production, they were saying that it was basically experimentation, them trying new things, to get the thing to kind of pop a certain way. And it came out wonderful, which is a part of the inevitable brilliance. All right, so let's start with episode 1 of season 1, In the Beginning. So in this episode, Aziraphale and the demon Crowley are introduced. And they're in the Garden of Eden, right? As we see Adam and Eve that are expelled from the garden, the whole Genesis 1 narrative, right? So thereafter, we fast forward to 11 years before Armageddon, right? In the future, right? Or shall we say the present. Now, Crowley, he is in charge of delivering the Antichrist baby, right? The Satan's born to a satanic convent, right? And it is there where the baby is to be given to an American diplomat and his family, right? But things don't quite go that way because we see that there's a mix-up, right? And a whole heap of shenanigans in between that, cause the mix-up. And the Antichrist baby ends up going to a middle-class English family, the Youngs, right? Crowley and Aziraphale, they meet to discuss the coming apocalypse, right? Based on what is supposed to be happening. Aziraphale is very reluctant because, he not really want to work with the demon Crowley. He's an angel, of course, right? And, eventually the two of them decide that if each work to influence the boy, at least he won't be definitely evil or definitely good, So they were trying to kind of balance out, his upbringing, by, influencing him in both ways, but not too much in either one, right? Yeah. And they believe that, he would neither be good or evil, right? And he should be normal. That's what they believe. In present day, Crowley and Aziraphale, them attend his 11th birthday party, right? And what is supposed to happen is that the boy is supposed to be able to at least come into his power at that time, right? Based on the rules of hell. So hell has sent his hellhound, right? And the hellhound find him, because I'm master. And when he find him, the boy, Adam Young, names him Dog, right? And basically that kind of changed his role, basically, or his personality from being this voracious and vile and terrifying creature into a cute little puppy dog, right? Actually, it's a little cute little puppy dog that he becomes, right? So, Crowley and Aziraphale would have gone to the birthday party of the baby that was mixed up because they never know. So all this time they were influencing a boy that wasn't the Antichrist. We don't know how they never spot that. Don't ask me how that go. What I also loved about this episode is that it gave us an introduction into the main characters in terms of who they are, personality wise, and, what the relationship between the two are like. And, I like that we'll get to see, Crowley's car, it's on fire, and racing, like very, very fast. It's one of them old time ish car, and it just, you know, and you get to see the whole idea of what has become the arc of this series, which is that this little boy is going to become the Antichrist at some point. But what will he do with his powers now? Because if he has been grown by the youngs, and he, in the village that he's grown in, and him just change him hellhound into a little puppy dog, what is to come of it, right? And I can tell you, basically, it's gonna be hilarious. So stick with me as I go through the rest of the episodes. Episode 2, the book. So in this episode, Aziraphale assures his superiors, that's Gabriel and Saldefan, right, that, all is well with the Antichrist, even though him know, say, them never know where the Antichrist, child is, right? So a parcel delivery man is sent to gather the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, right? Yeah. That's what happens, at the apocalypse, a delivery man is going to deliver his parcel to all 4 horsemen, right? Yeah. War gets a war correspondent. It was a war correspondent receives an ancient sword, right? Now, a prophetess, Agnes Nutter, right? She was burnt at the stake by the witchfinder general at the time. Thou shalt not commit adultery, Pulsifer, right? Agnes caused an explosion, killing everyone that was present. Now, her book, right, The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter, which, right, what a name, is left to her family and passed through the generations from, descendant to descendant, right? Now, it comes upon her descendant, an American occultist, Anathema Device, right? Who studies the prophecies to find that the Antichrist, and save the world. Now, Pulsifer's descendant, right, Newt, meet with Shadwell, right, a modern day witch finder, right, and invite him to join him crusade, basically. Now, Newt meets Shadwell's landlady, Madame Tracy, who is also a part-time escort and, medium. Now, after they visit the former convent, the convent that the Antichrist was switched. Now it is a corporate management retreat, and Aziraphale and Crowley learn that the records were destroyed in the fire, which means it's a bit difficult now for them to find the child. Now, drawn to Tadfield, Anathema meets Adam and his friends. Aziraphale and Crowley, them collide with Anathema on the road, right? And they give her a lift home, right? Funny, the person that she ran into is the person he's looking for. And, they are no closer to finding him, right? She end up leaving her book in a Crowley car, and Aziraphale reads it, realizing that it holds the key to finding the Antichrist, which at least that kind of helped, right? Episode 3, Hard Times. So, the opening credits roll after 20 odd minutes of pre-credit flashback. Bro, you know what I'm saying? It just came out of nowhere, and then it just didn't happen any other time in the series. Anyways, in this pre-credit opening, we saw a series of historical events that basically just maps everything that we already know about Aziraphale and Crowley and confirms some of the things that we weren't sure about, because it shows the relationship growing over all of the different historical events. So, the Noah Ark and the crucifixion of Jesus, and then through the 1960s, the cross paths in ancient Rome, medieval England, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, and revolutionary France. And then finally, in London during the Blitz, right? And this is when, Aziraphale was being held at gunpoint by some very shady characters who turn out to be, very cross. They wanted to kill him because, of what he knew or what they thought he knew. And so eventually Crowley had to come to his defense. And that is the whole essence of all of these events, is that we get to see that both of them have been there for one another in one way or another. And in some way, it builds that kind of anticipation in terms of what their relationship is, and, gives you an front row seat to where, all of this is coming from. You understand? It never just happened yesterday, right? It wasn't just this thing now that they are going through with the Antichrist thing that made them decide, say, they might work this way, or, yeah. So they come to an arrangement during their time there, and, they each do some of the other's work, right? As I mentioned. And this saves a lot of time and travel. Now, in the present, at Jasmine's cottage, Adam and Dog find Anatoma upset after losing her book. So she invites them inside, but one time she invites them inside, and we'll see this happening with the demons. The hellhound cannot enter somewhere that is protected from evil. And where she is was protected from evil. But at Adam's persistence, and the fact say it cannot disobey its master, the hellhound entered with Adam. So she started talking to them about some of the environmental issues them what happen. And, this kind of fascinating now Adam now, because I must say, I never know all these things was happening. So him eventually leave now with a stock of magazines. Aziraphale and Crowley, them contact Shadwell separately, because they were working together in terms of that, They were like, me I gotta do my thing, you're gonna do my other thing, but neither of them knew that they were using the same guy, Shadwell, right, who would help to locate the Antichrist. Now, this dude is the sole member of a quote-unquote army, right? And when he come in and meet with Crowley, he's like, there are some guys that need paid, on my army. So we're going to need the usual retainer and the usual amount of money. And and the one is like, Crowley realized, say, Weber got him know, says like, not even bother go there, so I don't need to know no more, right? No bother tell me nothing else. Just find, the child, right? And Aziraphale, being so naive, is the one that does take everything and say, yeah, man, I'm so sorry to hear about, that particular member of your army that, all of them thing there and whatever. And so he would have given Shadwell money for that, So Shadwell could have bring up any little story about, different members of his army. Some of them named Teapot and who named Kettle and Milk and some weird names for them, but it's just very obvious and, out there. And this is the thing I love about this series, is that they put in a lot of effort into the writing, and perhaps because most of it is coming from the adaptation from the book. And so, they already had a good foundation coming in. So, you could only make it worse if you're not paying attention to the adaptation. from the rules of adaptation, that is, especially when you have a book. So yeah, I love that. And don't come for me, I have not read the book, but I hear it's good. And then based on the fact that there's a series on it, who needs the book right now, right? Anyways, yeah. So the second horseman, Famine, right, is in the form of a Dr. Ravenstable, and he receives his package, a set of scales, right? So, him get called to order now and get called to war, so him feel good about that, Crowley and Aziraphale meet to discuss their progress, right, on finding the Antichrist. Now, the fact that they both went out of their way to not tell one another that they were outsourcing the job, it compounded things. But the fact that they were able to sit down and share their intel, it tells you that, at least they're on the path of trying to be, honest or open with one another about certain things, Now, Aziraphale never really want to answer about knowing the whereabouts, right, of the child. They argue for a little bit, and Aziraphale decides to him I'm gonna end the arrangement right here, so because him not see it's beneficial in his direction. Now that night, Adam fall asleep after him did done a read through the magazine when he get, and his powers cause a nuclear reactor core to vanish and to be replaced by a sherbet lemon. You heard me right. It vanished and become replaced by a lemon. Episode 4. Saturday morning fun time. Now, Adam dream them now start to come to life, and based on the several magazine articles that he would have read, right, including Atlantis and the Kraken, if you know what the Kraken is, right, is controlling behavior starts to worry his friends. Aziraphale him fail to convince Gabriel to stop Armageddon, right? And them even now question him now, his loyalty, right? After seeing proof that he is meeting with Crowley. Now, Crowley tries to talk Aziraphale into leaving Earth with him, right? Basically, for them go off, basically find one different place to go, because apocalypse on the heels of happening, so might as well, right? Now, the last two horsemen, pollution and death, are summoned, right? And the way how the delivery man had to deliver the message to death, I thought it was quite, horrific, right? Because, you see him say, last package this now, and him see the instructions, and he's like, oh no, I'm have to go tell him wife, say him basically now go make it to him, after him I say, boy, later on, I go see your babes. And the man basically have us die to deliver the message to death, right? And, that just really took me to a different level, just to see that happening. Now, while on driving Tadfield, Newton's car crashes, and Adam and his friends them take him out to Anatoma's cottage. Now, how him car crashed to is because he saw a UFO, right? Which is one of the things that was created as well, right? And some other weird thing was happening as well. So I wouldn't judge him too quickly about having that happen. Now, in the meantime, Warlock's family, right? And this is the other child that was switched, at the Satanic convent earlier on in the series. And they would have thought that, this was the family, right? The hell demons and, they arrive at Megiddo with the family, and unfortunately there is no hellhound. And the man wonder what, why, Now one of the demons them has to realize that Crowley lied about the Antichrist, right? And so Hasta and Lingard them decide to go confront Crowley now at him apartment. But Crowley had set up a contraption with holy water right at the door. So as soon as Lingard opened the door, he get destroyed by the holy water, because it's a demon, right? Now, Aziraphale phones Crowley to admit that, him need help and thing or whatever. But at that time, Crowley couldn't answer him. So because him, I deal with Hassa, him just hang up. And Asta now and him run away from Asta by jumping into the telephone, traveling in the, they call it the telephone lines so basically they might travel through the digital telephone lines, and him basically do that for trap Asta in his answering machine. Now him grab the key and run out now, and on the street now the angels Michael and Sandalphon and Uriel them physically confront Aziraphale, right? Them accuse him of consorting with the enemy, right? And thing. Now, back at his bookshop now, Aziraphale contacts God, right? And, he do a little prayer. I'd try to stop Armageddon from coming, Now, Shadwell did outside and watch through the letterbox, and because him seemed to perform a ritual, because he opened a portal to heaven, by marking some chalk on the ground, in a circle or pattern with some very almost looking like some ritualistic demon thingy. So he believes him is a demon. So him come in and him confront him, and say, I feel that demon and I'm gonna cast it out and thing, because him feels him have the words for it. And the whole time, Aziraphale try to avoid him, from stepping into the portal, him not realize that is Aziraphale, not realize him step into the portal. And him accidentally step in it now, and him get taken up into heaven, right? And Shadwell now believing, say, boy, he was the one who was able to expel the demon, leaves triumphant, slamming the door and knock off one candle where turn over and burn up the bookshop. Episode 5, The Doomsday Option. Now, Crowley races through London to find the bookshop in flames, right? And him not see no sign of Aziraphale. Now, Aziraphale decides say him no want to join the war, and is very much determined to stop Armageddon, right? Him leave without a body, right? So him not have nowhere to go. Him's just a spirit, And Crowley get drunk at one pub, right? And that's when Aziraphale appears to him in a ghostly form, right? So this is how Aziraphale now would have learned, say, the bookstore has burnt down, right? However, Crowley was able to save Agnes Nutter's book, right? And that would be the book that Aziraphale would have worked out who and where the Antichrist is, right? And he was kind of cross because, he couldn't believe that Aziraphale would have held this back from him. How can an angel hold back something like that, lie, not be honest to, even though, you expect the Crowley is a demon, you expect him to be more deceptive, but Aziraphale seems to have some deceptive, tendencies. That's what we're seeing here. So, them arranged now to meet at Tadfield Air Base, and this would have been after Aziraphale now find a body to inhabit, right? choose Madame Tracy's body, right? During a seance, right? Because she performed a seance and convince her and Shadwell to help stop Armageddon. Now, can you believe it? Crowley gets stuck in traffic, basically, on the M25. If anybody knows what it is and is listening from where it is, shout me out, let me know, right? But yeah, a ring of fire surrounds London. Astor, now having escaped from the answering machine, appears next to him, right? And Crowley now drive the Bentley through the flames, using his imagination to believe that the car is not on fire. Yeah, that was crazy though. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said the car on fire. This is what I'm talking about. This is where it gets very, very, very crazy. Right? While Astor don't have no imagination, him get disincorporated, right? And return to hell. Now, Adam comes fully into his powers, right? Him start to scare him friends them away, and even the dog, the hellhound, is afraid of him. Right? This rejection, it has an impact on Adam, and realizing that, he's going to lose his friends, him kind of revert to him human self. Anathema and Newt, them arrive at the same air base, right? Joining Shadwell, Aziraphale, and Madame Tracy. Adam and his friends as well were there, right? Because them get for going because, basically they'd have to go there anyways, right? They had to find a way to get them there. Now, the 4 horsemen arrive and they take over the base's global communications hub. And Crowley arrives in his flaming Bentley just as Adam declares, "I am here." Now, this is where it's gonna get very, very crazy, guys. Episode 6, the very last day of the rest of their lives. Now, Adam, seeing Aziraphale in the human vessel and thing, and say, something wrong with it, with you and the Tuono, basically. So, restore Aziraphale to his body and, make the woman have her body. And him friend them now, them confront and defeat war, pollution, and famine, right? And after that now, death say, boy, you'll always have me, because a world without death is no world at all, basically. So him leave. Now, Lord Beelzebub and Gabriel, them appear, right, to make sure say Adam restart Armageddon according to God's great plan. Yeah? But him say him refuse. Right? And, they must say, all right, since you refuse, guess what we're going to do? Beelzebub say, we're going to call the daddy. And which daddy them say them going to call? Now, Satan. Right? So then call Satan now, and Satan emerge after Crowley and Aziraphale encourage Adam to renounce Satan as his father. Right? Him confront him father, basically confront Satan and renounce him. Right? And that's how he's able to restore the world to the state it was prior to the failed Armageddon, right? So even the delivery guy, I was glad to see that him come back, right, to life. Yeah. And, all of the chaos was, restored. So, of course, it never does end so, right? And this is not the end of the series here. So, Aziraphale and Crowley have to face their respective superiors, right? Aziraphale is ordered to be destroyed by hellfire, and Crowley is forced into a tub of holy water. Right? And of course, to my shock and amusement, they're both unharmed. They both survive. After all where they're gone. Eh? After all where they're gone. They both survive because they had originally switched their bodies, right? When everything is done, they switch bodies, right? At some point. So of course, this make heaven and hell agree, mutually and exclusively to leave them alone on earth because they don't know what they have become, Them switch back to them original body and the Agnes Nutter final prophecy was fulfilled, giving them the key to surviving their executions. Yeah. Now life returns to normal for everyone. Madam Tracy and Shadwell, them decides that them are going to retire together in a cottage outside of London. And the season ends with Aziraphale and Crowley enjoying lunch at the Ritz, making a toast to the world. Season 2, Episode 1, The Arrival. So, before the beginning, right, that we saw in Season 1, Episode 1, with the garden and everything, the angel Crowley created a nebula. But him gets disappointed when the angel Aziraphale informs him that this creation is intended merely for entertainment of humans and it will be destroyed in 6,000 years. And, basically I wonder why that's going to be, like anybody else would be wondering, why would you just create something to destroy it? So I'm saying I'm going to take it up with the one who came up with that plan, right? I.e. God. So he was going to talk to, God asks, why? He says, I don't see any reason in not having a reasonable conversation. Just to ask, why not? Just ask, why? Now, in modern times, because we know what happens after that. The fall happens and whatever, right? Based on the story where it went, right? Gabriel has disappeared from heaven, and both heaven and hell are eager to find him, right? Why is that? Why is the angel Gabriel suddenly disappears? But it turns out that he arrives at the doorstep of Aziraphale's bookshop, right? Without any memories. The man naked, the angel naked, I should say, right? Just carrying a large box with a fly inside. Now, Aziraphale, at first, him don't know what to do. Him never really want to tell Crowley about it neither, because, he was, or never even sure how to tell him, basically. But eventually him tell him, and the both of them agree, say, why it makes sense to hide him, right? And they perform a miracle to hide Gabriel from heaven and hell. They both partly do a miracle, so that it doesn't show up on the radars of heaven and hell in any meaningful way. It does show up, but, it doesn't show up that much in heaven, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not what happened, right? It drew the attention of the angels and it led to them believing that Gabriel is hiding in Aziraphale's bookshop. Yeah. Episode 2, The Clue. In 25,000 BC, God grants hell in the form of Crowley a permission to visit horrific disasters on Job to test his fate. Yeah, this was one of the troubling stories that I've read in the Bible, and I don't have much to say about it other than this series just basically took all the ideas or thoughts that I have about it and put it out there for everyone to see. That means that I may alone have these thoughts or worries about these things. Anyways, Aziraphale is horrified by the prospect of destroying Job's children, and Crowley and him, disguised as Bildad, right, this guy named Bildad, trick the angels into thinking that Job's children are dead by hiding them in the form of lizards. and then restoring them and claiming that they are new children promised to Job by God. I like this story. I like the way how they redid that whole thing. Yeah, man, this sounded a bit much better. If this didn't have the Bible, then yes, this one would have been a great story because it would have been like, see, it still worked out in the end and it worked out great. It didn't involve just being like a crazy thing there. So Aziraphale feels some great guilt for thwarting the will of heaven. And he may even wonder if he do the right thing. Me I think the same thing to come and say, them the don't pan him basically if you say, yo, make sure say the children them done and them gone and whatever. And I'm saying these are kids, man. Anyways, in the present now, Aziraphale is visited by Michael, Uriel, and Saraquel, who trace the miracle Aziraphale and Crowley performed to the bookstop. But the miracle, it prevents them from recognizing Gabriel. So even though he's standing there right in front of them, they can't see him or don't even recognize him, you know? They eventually leave and they're still suspicious of Aziraphale and them start to decide so them going to promise for him an audit now, right, of the miracle, which he claims, was to make the cafe owner Nina fall in love with his tenant, right, a record shop owner named Maggie. Beelzebub offers to drop the hostility towards Crowley in exchange for the information on where Gabriel is. So, both heaven and hell trying to find one big angel, I should say. Yeah. Episode 3. I know where I'm going. Now, heaven sends junior angel Muriel to spy on Aziraphale and audit the miracle. Now, Muriel is very clueless about, life on Earth and is easily misdirected. Now, back in 19th century Edinburgh, Crowley and Aziraphale, them meet up on one poor girl, Elspeth, and she robs graves and sells the corpses to doctors to support herself and her friend Morag. Aziraphale considers her deeds to be wrong and tries to sabotage her sales. But after the doctor explains the corpses are to help with advancing medical science and to understand how to treat people that are living, him change his mind about Elspeth's deeds, right? And this is how, I like how this series just basically puts certain things out there and, gets you to think about the moral implications of things. And then it shows you that it's not all the time that there is black and white. There are shades of gray in terms of certain things because, yes, we know it definitely not a good thing for be taking people's corpse or corpse out of the grave after them bury them and sell them to somebody for use just so. And that's probably why, modern times now, I don't think it's being done anymore, but basically it is legalized in certain ways to have people giving their body, donating their body to science. Morag, Crowley, and Aziraphale, they try to dig up another corpse, but Morag is killed by a trap protecting the grave, right? Because if people are stealing it on a regular, right, you have to develop ways to stop it from happening to your loved one, right? Now, Elspeth sells Morag's corpse to the doctor, right? And then take the money, to buy poison to kill herself. But Crowley put an end to it by, telling Aziraphale, say, you need to give her enough money to escape poverty and live a better life. Which He relents and he does. Episode 4, The Hitchhiker. The demon Shax hitches a lift with Aziraphale as he drives Crowley's Bentley back from Edinburgh and deduces that Gabriel is hiding in the bookshop. In the 1940s, 3 Nazi agents go to hell after they were killed by a fallen bomb in hard times. You remember in that episode I was talking about those 3 spies, basically that were after Aziraphale, and I forgot to say that Crowley came to his rescue basically by coming into the church, right? Walking into the church. And if you know, demons can't walk into churches, so he had to be like, stepping on, playing hot foot basically, because every step was like burning. When they mentioned that Crowley and Aziraphale, was the reason why they were there, the demon Furfur, I don't know why they have these names, offered to spare their eternal damnation and resurrect them as zombies if them can spy, right? Of course, he won't forget proof that the demon and the angel are consorting to advance his rank in hell. Now, Aziraphale is invited to perform magic on the West End. He plans to perform a potentially lethal trick, and with Crowley's aid, he manages to perform it successfully. Alright. Furfur takes a photo of the peer corporation, He goes to present the proof to the Hell Council, not knowing Aziraphale switched the photo with a West End photo, right? A poster. Now, back in the present, Shax, with the permission of Beelzebub, plans to storm the bookshop. Episode 5, The Ball. Now, Aziraphale uses a miracle to transform a shopkeeper's meeting into a Regency-style ball, hoping that Jane Austen-inspired atmosphere will get Maggie and Nina together, right? And the way how he tried to get everybody, all of the shopkeepers to come, that was hilarious. Like it basically appealed to each one's needs and, what they were looking for or hoping for out of the meeting, basically. Now, Shax requisitions a small number of demons via Furfur and prepares to storm the bookshop, but cannot cross the thresholds as they have not been invited in. See, I told you, came back to that again. Demons cannot inhabit where they have not been invited, right? So don't invite any demons in. Now, Shax threatens to kill all the humans in the shop unless they surrender Gabriel. Gabriel surrenders himself, but Aziraphale and Crowley, their earlier miracle, basically, prevents the demons from recognizing him as well. They continue to threaten the bookshop now, and Crowley has stalled for some time while him evacuate most of the human guests. And then force Muriel to arrest him and bring him to heaven, basically. Right? Can you believe it? Him force a police officer to arrest him. It's an angel police, right? Episode 6, Every Day. So while Aziraphale, Nina, and Maggie fend off the demons, Crowley discover the reason for Gabriel's disappearance. Right? So when he go up there in heaven, and he's basically able to get onto their systems, the heavenly systems, using the same password that they had from creation. And that's how he was able to find recordings of the meetings that would have taken place, and they found out that, Gabriel, basically was demoted from his position as an archangel, and them decided to wipe all his memories. Now, Crowley returned now to the bookshop where Aziraphale has successfully fended off the demons, and him accidentally, or was it that he literally declared war on hell, right? And he had to do it, right, basically. Now, Beelzebub appears and reveals that Gabriel's memories, right, were hidden in a fly, right? And how they figured out, they found out that there was a fly that was given to Gabriel as a present basically a long time ago. She basically, tit for tat. He gave her a present, she gave him a present. So the present was a fly that could, that's bigger on the inside. I should mention that because this brings back, to Doctor Who again, right? I'm so crazy, I know. But so this would have been revealed, of course, when Gabriel got back his memories, right? And it would have involved conducting a romance with Beelzebub, and they were very awkward in the beginning, angel and demon, but eventually they just kind of melded, in a certain way. So, both of them at this point, because when he had left heaven, right, his plan was that he was going to go and meet Beelzebub, right? But that never happened, of course. He ended up in the bookshop. So now that has his memories and everything, both of them want to abandon heaven and hell and live together, right? Find somewhere else, some other corner of the universe to go, right? Of course, not just like that, because everybody was like, I don't know if you want to do that, but eventually them just slow them to make them go on. The Metatron, right, is another angel. He arrives and he offers Aziraphale Gabriel's former position and the ability to restore Crowley status as an angel, right? Now, Crowley and him, up to this point, we would have seen that they have been, working together, and not just literally working together, but they have been, in that kind of a relationship, right? And thing. And it was painful to see that at this point, Aziraphale still felt that his duty to heaven came first, and he really, really still believes, after all of what they've been through, that heaven was better. And, why he would have accepted the offer from Metatron to do that. So I tell Crowley, say, boy, my plan, because Crowley did have something to tell him too at the same time, but he went first basically, and Crowley was like, gutted basically, like totally out of it, like imagine, but it really, try and see if we could work on our relationship even further, like come so far, and perhaps, it could go further. Who knows? But at this point, we're not sure what was going to happen, right? So the last scene, basically, we say Aziraphale, basically I say, this is it. Either, we'll go to heaven, or it's not, it's a no, right? Crowley refuse, and him give a kiss, right? Now, this point, we see Aziraphale leaving Earth, and Crowley looks on as him see him, go to work for heaven. Oh, and Metatron informs him now that the task that he is going to be taking on, because, I'm asked Aziraphale, is like, but you tell him about this big task that's going to be, and he say, we're going to be enacting the second coming. Yeah. And that's it for my interpretation and my insights on Good Omens. I mentioned my favorite moments, were all over. I mean, there's so much jam-packed into this series, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do for the final TV movie, basically. So, of course, there were some minisodes. One that took place during the pandemic called Good Omens Lockdown. And, basically it's a talk over the phone about how they're dealing with the lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the better ones. And then there was a companion to owls in 25,000 BC. Crowley is sent to torment Job, right? And Aziraphale discovers Crowley has permission from God, who is trying to settle a bet with Satan, and Crowley and Aziraphale end up working together to save Job's children, right? Leading to Aziraphale's first taste of earthly pleasures and his first defiance of heaven, right? And this would have been part of the episode The Clue, right? And then there is the Resurrectionists. In 1827, Edinburgh, Aziraphale and Crowley encounter a poor grave robber and find the line between good and bad deeds on earth. Instead, it wasn't clear to them, presented as part of the episode I Know Where I'm Going, right? So you remember I was talking about that just now. And then the last one was Nazi zombie flesh eaters. In 1941, London's Crowley comes to Aziraphale's aid when his book and magic career are threatened by 3 Nazi resurrected by hell as zombies, presented as part of the Hitchhiker, right? So, yeah, that was it. Yeah. No, Lockdown was the only mini-episode that was released via YouTube. All of the other ones would have mentioned were put as part of the season 2, right? As extended flashback, We'll be right back after these messages. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help it grow, I'd love your support. Since it's not monetized, my main goal is to connect with more listeners who share a passion for sci-fi. Please share the podcast with friends or colleagues who might enjoy it. And don't forget to leave a comment. Your support and feedback makes a big difference, and keep the content coming. So here are my theories about unresolved mysteries and plot points. So there's quite a lot of things I could talk about, right? The whole context of using a religious base as a story, right? Especially one so well known as the Bible, and what a lot of persons believe in the Abrahamic faiths of Christianity or Judaism. And the fact that it took on such a story line that, basically like pulled a whole lot into it. And especially with the commentary that it did in terms of, some of the questions that are in popular culture, right? A lot of persons who have read the Bible, and especially, some of the things in Genesis and, about Job and so on. Those things were some of the great highlights, and it would have been good to see a lot more being put out there, but of course they only had the budget they had, or the amount of episodes that they could write, right? And perhaps, who knows, I might be inclined to read the actual adaptation material, see, what it's coming from, in terms of that. But yeah, it would be something interesting to see. And it would have been good to see, the series being carried on instead of being, cut short. I mean, all the good stuff, they always seem to be cut short like this, like, yeah, it's really good, right? Yeah, except for Lucifer. That is another series that Yeah, we're gonna do that at some point. But yeah. Anyways, here are the questions. You must be wondering where they were, right? What's so bad about knowing the difference between good and evil? This was a question that in the very first episode was asked by Crowley, right? Especially the fact that the fruit in the garden was presented as, you know, and we know that at some point it would be something that, evokes some kind of discussion, or debate. And to hear the angel's response is that it must be bad. And I'm like, okay, but that just only shows one side of it. What about it is bad, right? What about it is good, right? Knowing the boundary, does it mean that I immediately want to jump over the bridge? Knowing that the edge exists right here, I know where I need to go. Do I put my coffee mug over the edge because I know that there's an edge to the table? No. I think it is choice. It's plain and simple. That's my answer. Knowing the difference between good and evil is about choice, right? Being able to know that in this particular circumstance, yes, there is something I need to do, but how am I going to accomplish it? And can I do it, again, without having to do too much bad, or do it in such a way that it is unrepentable, if you want to use that word? What if a demon did the good thing and angel did the bad thing? Now, this was another question that was asked by Crowley again, right? So I'm kind of breaking it in here, which is to say that demons are supposed to be what? Punishing humans, right? Is punishing someone bad? You're trying to do a good by punishing them, right? Now, angels do not punish, right? But they come to deliver messages. Now, let's say the angel came to deliver a message, but the message wasn't clear. Is that good? So, yeah, I mean, there's so many ways I could go off with this and stuff, but essentially both sides has its purpose, if you want to put it that way. And the whole premise of this series was that God was a narrator, right? So many times you'll be hearing that voice. It was the voice of God basically talking and narrating the story. So, and I say it, the voice of God was talking about all the things that Aziraphale and Crowley was doing. And it wasn't like, oh, they were doing something good or they were doing something bad. It was as if they were working towards a particular goal, a particular plan. Yes, the plan is ineffable, right? The plan is the plan, right? Which is not an answer to the question. But if we were to think about it, we say, boy, the plan was created so that the plan would be fulfilled. That sounds like rubbish, but the plan was executed by chance and prophecy and all sorts of different things played into the plan. So even the fact that the apocalypse didn't happen, right? That the Antichrist came, but he did not, do what they wanted, and that basically everything was reverted in the end. That was a part of the plan, right? So I guess the only thing about it is that the plan was there wasn't any way to follow what was going to happen, because things could happen that are a part of the plan, and then things could be, these prophecies or these things that you were instructed to do could be, it sound like it against the plan initially, and then when you do them, they're a part of the plan. So in a way, it's almost like anything could be a part of the plan. Anything could be the plan, which you must be scratching your head about what I'm saying, right? What is Andre trying to say? Well, I'm just saying that the Good Omens definitely are shine a light on this whole idea that this master rule kind of thing of just taking instructions and just executing them just because they conform to the highest authorities, right? Or coming from the highest authority doesn't really work, And one of the things that I'm hoping that they expound more on is the whole concept of the second coming and Metatron's instruction to Aziraphale, because Metatron said himself in the episode that he is the voice of God, and anything said to him is said to God. So that kind of sound like Metatron is God, or is playing God at least. And that perhaps, just like with some stuff, it seems like God has gone on a vacation and has left the plant running, right? The pipe of overflow and all of these things happening without direct intervention or consent. So that's where it might lead you, right? And we're still talking about Good Omens, okay? We're still talking about Good Omens, right? But is it that the future of the show is going to basically, it could be that it could be revived at some point in the future, like many other projects have been in the past. But one of the things that I think it would definitely benefit from is to go deeper into some of those issues and some of those things that, persons would want to know more about, or, bring awareness to some of these things to the people who might not be aware of some of these things, and present it in a very unique style, similar to what is happening here, right? In Good Omens. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking the future of Good Omens should be, or in future projects or spin-offs that might come from it, that we get to see more of the stories, more of the plan, whether the second COVID or, any other thing that you want to pull into that, So, yeah, those are my theories. What's your theories? Their favorite moments? Let me know of them in the comments. So in this episode, we looked at angels, demons, and the apocalypse with a twist. And in the Good Omens, the one thing that we can count on is that the plan is ineffable brilliance. And that's a wrap on this episode. We've hit 700 downloads and we're on our way to 1,000. Thank you for being a part of this journey. If you enjoy this ride, be sure to follow, like, and share. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.